Hello everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. In today's video, I am sharing how to build scenes on Slimline cards. The Slimline card size creates a really great canvas for certain types of scenes. I'm going to be using some Sunny Studios stamps and dies to create some really fun backgrounds and scenes for my cards. So let's dive right into Slimline scene building. The Sunny Studios stamp set called Balloon Rides has a ton of little images and characters and options in it. So what I like to do when I have a stamp set like this is to stamp everything out except for the sentiments. In order to do that, I'm using my original Misty so I can fit all of the little stamps onto a half of an 8.5 by 11 piece of white cardstock. And I am using Gina K Designs amalgam ink so that I can decide after the fact what type of medium I want to color these images in with. I'm probably going to do a lot of Copic coloring, and I actually have some tips and tricks if you don't have a lot of Copic markers on how to blend and shade with grays and then how to add texture to scenes as well. So stay tuned for that later in the video. I am using my Debbie tool, which makes it easier to apply even pressure. If you're looking to check out a Debbie tool for yourself, she has lots of different models and different sizes for the hand grip. They are linked in the YouTube description box below under Stamper's Secret. So I've cut an 8.5 by 11 piece of glitter cardstock from My Favorite Things in half vertically. This is one of the times that it is nice to have a glitter paper that's larger than 6 by 6. So I am going to use this half to cut out a banner from the Slimline Pennant dies from Sunny Studios. It comes with several sizes, so I cut a slightly smaller pennant from white cardstock, and I'm using some Distress Oxide inks to ink blend a rainbow here. You can do any color combination that you like for these backgrounds. You could do blues for sky, you could do green for grass. I happen to really like rainbows, so if you prefer something else, absolutely go for it. And I am using a bunch of the domed foam blenders from Tim Holtz for Ranger. And now I'm going to do some Copic coloring. So I am using BG10 to color in the clouds. And when I'm coloring in the clouds, I'm not coloring the whole thing. I am doing circles and curly cues around the cloud to make it look like a white puffy cloud. So now I'm going to use Y08 to color in the little sun there, and I will use a YR04 to color in the rays of the sun. So you can see for some of these really tiny images, you can't do much shading and blending. I'm going to use the same orange and yellow that I used for the sun to color in two of the stripes of the balloon. I'm going to continue with that rainbow theme that we had from the ink blending and continue on with some brighter colors from the Copic markers to finish up the balloon top. And then I'm using, I think it was B07 for the blue. And I'll try to link to all of them down in the YouTube description box below this time. I know sometimes I don't remember to do that with the Copic markers, but I will do it this time. Now I'm going to color in the basket, and I'm going to put my purple down at the bottom of the balloon and then do a gray for the little ties attaching. Okay, so if you don't have a lot of pinks or oranges, yellows, greens, or blues, you can take a neutral gray or any really gray, a cool gray or a warm gray, as long as it's the 0 of the grays, you can use that to blend some shading on the bottom of the balloon stripes. What you'll want to do is, if it's 0, you'll want to go back over that shading with the color, because some of the 0 will kind of move the color around, but if you go back over it with the color, you'll notice that there's a darker hint at the bottom of the balloon, and that's what we're going for. So now I didn't like the way that the clouds turned out, so I'm taking a B000 and going over just the outside just to kind of pull it together. They were just looking a little I don't know, frazzled or something. So now I'm gonna take my colorless blender, and the way I was touching it was to figure out if it was dry. The alcohol is cold, so if it still feels cold to the touch, especially on the top of your hand, then you know that it's not dry yet. It needs to just be room temperature in order to use the colorless blender and have it be dry enough to push the color back into the image. So I just did some very basic coloring of the little puppy, and now I'm going to heat emboss with white embossing powder the sentiment from the Balloon Ride stamp set on this rainbow background. I want to make sure to use a ton of anti-static powder because I didn't really let this background dry completely. So I really want to make sure that powder doesn't stick where I don't want it. So that's why I used a ton of the anti-static. And you can see that I think it worked out fine. I didn't really have white powder sticking where it shouldn't. And I love the way that the white pops on that rainbow background. Now I'm going to use some iCraft Ultra Bond liquid adhesive. I mentioned this in my glitter video recently that if you're having trouble adhering paper down to glitter cardstock, try a strong liquid adhesive like Ultra Bond or any really strong liquid adhesive you have in your stash. It just tends to work a bit better than tape runner when you're trying to adhere paper down to glitter. I'm going to use some tape runner to put those clouds down flat. So scenes like this, I think, are fun to mix it up a little bit, to have some things kind of in the background and flat to the card, and then some things use those foam squares to pop them up. So the clouds are going to be flat to the rainbow background, and then I'm going to use some tape runner to adhere the little pennants to the balloon and the little puppy inside the basket. So I actually prefer to put this on the front, and then it looks like his little paws are hanging over the edge. Whereas if you put it behind the balloon, it really hides a lot of his face. And then I used some foam squares to pop it up. And now I'm using the Pentel Milky Pop white gel pen, which a bunch of you know is my favorite white gel pen. For those of you who don't, I will link to that video up in the right-hand corner so that you can check out why it's my favorite and why a lot of people also seem to love it. And I am just adding some little bits of detail here and there, some curlicues on the clouds, some little dots, some lines on the balloon, some little dots on the cheeks of the sun, some lines on the basket. And you can see from far away you can't tell, but up close it does add some kind of fun details. Okay, now I have my Score Pal 8s. I'm so happy to have the 8th version of this. It makes it much easier to create a card base. I am going to lightly score where the panel was wide, and at the width of the panel I'm going to score on an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. Then I'm going to put the large pennant die with the left hand side hanging over the fold so that when I run it through my die cut machine and peel off the purple tape very carefully, although it won't matter because it'll be underneath anyway, you create basically a pennant shaped card base. This way there's no white hanging out on the back of this. I really liked the pennant shaped card base just for something a little bit different. It's still a nice long slimline card, but it also has that shape at the bottom where it's like the triangles cut in. So, and you can see that it actually still stands up even though they're cut like that. So I really thought this was just a little bit different of a scene on a rainbow background there. For this next slimline scene, we're actually going to create a mini slimline card. I have a whole video planned about creating mini slimline cards and mini slimline envelopes, so definitely stay tuned for that. But for now, I'm using Sunny Studios Countryside Scenes to stamp out this cute little hills with trees stamped background. And I'm using some Copic markers, and to create texture in the grass, I am just putting some slightly darker green dots around the trunks of the trees, and then putting little wisps of lines on the hill itself to create little grass blades. Now I am using the very, very tip of my brush marker there so that I can create those tiny, because it's like super, super small, to create those little tiny wisps of grass. You're really just using the very, very tiny tip of the marker. But this is a way to, again, not use so many colors to do shading and blending, but to add some texture to this scene background. So again, I'm going in with a slightly darker marker and adding some more dots and some more just tiny little lines. Like if you do 3 little lines where the base is all connected, it looks like a little grass bundle. So for the trees, I'm going to color in the trees in the darker color that I was using for the accents on the grass. So everything will kind of coordinate, and I'm sort of avoiding the branches. We're going to go over those with some dots of leaves in the end, but for now I'm just kind of avoiding them. And then I'm going to use a dark brown to fill in the trunks of the trees and those branches. And I'm not doing any shading and blending again. I'm just using one color to fill them in. And then I'm gonna take a slightly darker green, this is the YG67, and I'm gonna do dots all over, even on top of the branches. That's gonna kind of blend everything together and then also add some texture for those trees. For the sky, I'm going to use BG000, and I'm just going to swipe with kind of the side of the brush going back and forth, not completely covering it. There's going to be a little bit of white because we want some wispy white clouds going through the background, but getting a good amount on there. And then I'll use the B000 to add in some more color. So I'm doing the same thing, kind of just swiping back and forth with the side of the brush, and then I'm going to go back with the lighter color over the darker color just to blend everything out. Now I'm going to work on some Tim Holtz Distress watercolor cardstock, and I'm going to use VersaFine ink, and I'm going to stamp out my images, just the ones that I really want to use this time, now that I kind of know what's in the stamp set and what I think will work on this card. And then I'm going to put some clear embossing powder on top. That VersaFine is a pigment ink, so it takes a longer time to dry, so you'll have time to put clear embossing powder over it. You can see that the lines now don't look black until we melt the embossing powder and heat set that. So I'm going to use my heat tool and melt all this embossing powder, and I shared this the last time that I did some watercoloring, that these little raised lines help you keep the water within the lines. So I'm going to use the Karin Brushmarker Pros again. I am a big fan of these. I think these are some of the easiest ways to do watercoloring. I am just going to draw from the top of the balloon here, and then I'm going to dip a brush into a little bit of water and blend that color out. And you can see how easily it moves on the Tim Holtz watercolor paper. I was very happy with this paper and the Karin brush markers. I had a slightly not as great experience the last time I used the a different watercolor paper. So this time I am using the flip side of the watercolor paper, which is the smooth side. And I learned from somebody who watched the first video I did that you're not supposed to use this side technically, and that's why the last time my paper held up a little bit. I had no problems with the Tim Holtz watercolor paper, and it is also bright white, which I love. So I am just going to color in all these little images with the Karin markers. You can see for the cloud, I just outlined the cloud right next to the stamped image, and then I'm just using a tiny bit of water to blend it out. But on this paper, they move beautifully. I was waiting for the darker blue stripes to dry before I went in to do the lighter blue stripes. I learned that lesson the last time I was doing watercoloring, when I kind of had things mush into to each other a little bit. If you don't let areas dry before you move on to an area right next to it, you can get in real big trouble. So I learned my lesson. I'm doing the basket, and then I actually picked up a little bit of color from the basket to just do the roof of the house. So there's so much color in these markers. They're so vibrant. You don't need a lot of the marker. Like here on the house, I'm just doing a little bit on both sides in order to color in that entire house. And then I just did little dots of gray to do the door and the little accent there at the top. So these are a lot of fun. Okay, now I'm gonna stamp with VersaFine ink the sentiment, and I'm gonna stamp that right on the sky. It says "Sending smiles across the miles," which is one of my favorite sentiments. And I'm gonna use some tape runner to adhere my little panel down to some blue cardstock, and then I'm gonna pop up those images and put some tape runner on clouds so that I can pop up the sun in front of that. So again, just using a mix of dimension and flat to really create depth to the card and make the scene more interesting. But I think this set is really fun to create scenes with because there are so many little things that you can add, like trees in the house. And then of course a little bit of white gel pen accent for details. So whether you're using a full-size slimline card and doing kind of like a magical scene like a rainbow, or creating a more realistic scene like hills and trees, the slimline size is perfect because it gives you lots of real estate to move across the cards. If you want to see more slimline card inspiration, check out my entire playlist over here. If you want to see more card making tips, tricks, techniques, new products, and ideas on how to use them, please subscribe and hit the bell so you can be notified every time I have a new video available. As always, I want to thank you so much for spending your time with me. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon.